sometimes maybe $1.50. That bread, anyway, it'll kill mice. You could want to kill the mice, just give them some of that bread, it'll kill them. Okay, but, so we have to educate people on not only what's going on, but what we're trying to do. We're not trying to run people's lives, but we want to give people, we want our centers to give people a chance to breathe and to get a second look at life. And also to feel better about themselves, you know what I mean? And some of it will take a lot of specialist care, but we'll leave that to the people that know how to do that, like, you know. But they still have to do it under our guidelines. Experiment, guidebook, how to. You know how to do all of this stuff. So what we're talking about, people do various types of things like that. But the reason we need guidebooks and lead books and all of that, pamphlets, is so that the people will be thinking along the lines, strip them off. You're not here to save the world and all the white people. You're not here to save all the black people and make them, you got to read the Bible from John 3:16 before meals. No. But we're doing this. Why are we doing this? We're doing this based on our Islam. And if they want to know, we'll happily tell them. But they don't have to sit there and take shahada, you know.
Learn about the...
You have to say the Fatiha before they get to play. In Arabic.
That's terrible, man. We're not going to do none of that stuff. In other words, it's for the people, not for us. You know, that's what we have to orientate people to how to think about what they're doing. You know, and we have to remind ourselves that we're doing this to save our own soul. You know what I mean? We're doing this to try to rack up to knock off a few of them other bad deeds, and maybe a couple of these good deeds will devour some of them. That's what our personal goal is that, because that's a Quranic and Hadith goal. In the meantime, I'd like to read our famous from the وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Who is better in speech than one who calls men to Allah, work righteous deeds, Amilu Salihat, and says, I am of those who bow in Islam. And this is, we've been saying this for years. We've been saying it over at this place, that place, and now we're going to implement that. But nor can goodness and evil be equal. Repel evil with that which is better, then will be between whom and thee was hatred become, as it were, thy friend and enemy. And none will be granted such goodness except those who exercise patience and self-restraint, none but persons of the greatest good fortune. Okay, so this is an outline of what we're doing. وَلَا تَسْتَوِي الْحَسَنَاتُ وَلَا السَّيِّئَاتُ أَدْفَعَ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ فَإِذَا الَّذِي بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَهُ. Goodness and evil are not equal. They're not the same. This ayat is telling us, repel evil with goodness. for that which is better, right? So we're not trying to be like boss man. We don't want you to do, or the people to do anything for our reward. Doing this, if we're doing it with the right niyyah and everything, that's the reward. And also, this was one of our, not salvation, but to remove evil and bad feeling, between peoples. So it says, very clearly, وَأَدَاوَةٌ كَأَنَّهُمْ وَلِيٌّ حَمِيمٌ. Yeah. Those people that was between hatred, now I'm talking right now about, that's boss man. But the key is not dealing with boss man. We're dealing with people that boss man done undermined. So it says, even if it was boss man, it may be between you who was hatred, boss man, and mistreated us, not the people that are homeless out there, that you would become their wali. And hamim is hot, warm water. They would become your warm and fuzzy friends. That's if it was boss man. This is just a reminder for us that those people are not even boss man. They are victims of boss man. So this stands 50 times in its stead. And no one will be granted such goodness except those who exercise patience, self-restraint, none but the persons of the greatest good fortune. Those people will be lucky. They will be lucky. Good fortune. The dictionary, when it uses the word has or something like that, it uses two terms. Luck and fortune. So it's those who have good fortune or those who have good luck. And we don't necessarily believe in good luck, but the way it's putting it here, it has, it carries some weight. Because when I think about life, I said, boy, I was lucky out of all the Negroes that went down their path, what have you. Man, I done jumped in Islam. I'm the luckiest Negro in the United States, for sure. It's just my belief. Everybody had entitled to their own, but me, I feel, there's so many stuff that could have happened, and it didn't happen. And if it did happen, it didn't even hurt, you know what I mean? And whatever happened, it made you better or bigger, and you were even more grateful. Because every day you go out and look around, or every time I go back to Oakland, I see, and everybody that's from here, they see what happened to our people. I don't care what it came from. You was lucky when you accepted Islam. Or you can use that word, or you can use fortune. You was very fortunate. But you can put a little luck on it, because since we colored, you can put a little 15% luck, not like you shooting dice and you get lucky that day. But you niggas lucky, man. They can say what they want. I just know that person. I know anyway. And now, just to be brief, we read ayat last other day. These are, like I gave you eyes, ears, tongue, but he had made no haste on the path that is steep. And what will explain to thee the path that is steep? It is the freeing of the bondsman, or the giving of food in a day of privation to the orphan with claims of relationship or to the indigent down in the dust. That's the key, one of the key phrases in IS. Man, if you can help somebody voluntarily without looking down on and all of that, with people who they're down in the dust, they're down in the dust. And it's not anymore, you know, I don't know if y'all remember, but in the old days they had what was called the poorhouse. Does anybody remember that terminology?
I knew the terminology.
The terminology, but they had, see, you could go to the poorhouse if you was doing bad. They don't even gonna have them no more. They got welfare and all that. But they used to have the poorhouse. And the Catholics always had, I remember in Oakland, they had Little Sisters, House of the Poor. And I used to talk crazy, think I'm gonna take you down to the poorhouse and turn your behind in if you don't give me my money, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, you're gonna be poor, you're gonna be in the poorhouse. The poorhouse. And that's what people would say, so-and-so's in the poorhouse. You know, the terminology they use. Experiment gathering, where we intend to go. We just had here, what do we have to lose? What do we have to lose to do this? Nothing. We don't have nothing to lose. It's all the gain. This is all the gain and nothing to lose. Okay. If we have to use our own money to get it started, we'll use it, because we're going to get it from the government anyway. And if we don't get none of that, we'll raise the money we need to do these projects on our own. In other words, this is the plan that if it goes this way, that is fine. If it goes that way, we'll have to work a little harder or hustle. But it doesn't make, for planning purposes, it doesn't make any difference which ones come first. Whether we have to use our own property and everything first, whether we get a abandoned military base first, that it doesn't change the stage that we're in. Okay, it's just like the giving away of a little food. This happens to be the stage that we're at. Last year we was in another stage thinking different. And then it just come to you, no, get on up and get busy, you know. And this type of sadaqah jariyah. What do we have again? Project management. We have homeless CCC. Does anybody remember what the old civilian conservation camps were? It was 100 years ago. Not 100 years ago, 80, 90 years ago. Franklin Roosevelt.
Right, that was part of that New Deal, give people jobs to go out.
The CCs?
Yeah.
My grandfather was a
Yeah.
CC in the CC.
Yeah. They did good work, man. They built dams.
Yeah.
They built. They started preservation of forests, and they got a little salary, something to eat, and it gave them a feeling of being useful. Okay, we want to do that type of thing, plus all the better aspects of human character. You know what I mean? Yeah, that type of thing. But that'll give you an idea of, number one, their old military bases. Number one, we want to include some of the people in management that has a feel for large discipline control, management of people. And you get that from the military. And who's better to do that than a guy sitting at home drinking all day, and old colonel, even a couple of generals, they'd love to have a chance at something like that. You'd probably rescue them more than be helping the people. But all of that stuff, remember, this might sound like hokey dokey, but this is management on a large scale. If you get the people out, you gotta feed them every day. Say we'll feed them twice a day. That means you gotta feed them twice a day, every day. So you gotta have stuff packed up. You gotta have a week's supply on hand all the time. In case something go wrong, you know what I mean? In other words, and to keep things flowing, you got to have a whole crew of people making them circuits to Safeways, to Lucky's, to Albertson, that's the ones out there. And when we do them over this way to Giant and all of these places, to collect all of their cornflakes and milk, you know, the milk is so when they get old, they gotta put it out too. But shoot, most of the time it have at least a week left. So we keep it cold fast enough they can have good fresh milk on their cornflakes or whatever they eat. You know what I mean? All of that. And then our type of service, the people won't be treated like numbers. And remember we were saying 3.5 stars for the people that serve them food. Sometimes you have a service line because of the kind of food you have. But you can also, from time to time, have people, now, what self-esteem, how much self-esteem would it have if you go to a place, you got a nice bunk, you got a regular change of clothes, you got classes on this, classes on that. In time, you have classes on plumbing, classes on electricity. You'll have all of that stuff in time. In case people want to go out and work. And if they want to go out and work, they can still come back and stay there. So they save up $50 million from staying there for free and going out and doing it. But just imagine, standard job, our workers do it for half price. Electrician's job for half price. They'll be rich. And they don't have to give us nothing. If they want to donate something, they can do it. And then eventually, see, remember, we'll have trucks and everything for them. Like we go to the state, they auction off everybody around here auction off stuff, right? Every government organization. We get into people at the motor pool, hey, we get in with them, why don't y'all donate 5 trucks? We need delivery trucks, we need this, that, and we pick out the ones we need. Or give us a deal, right? Remember, when you start doing things to help people, people come out of the woodwork. You don't even know, you didn't know it was there. They say, how much you getting paid that? But no, I don't take a salary. What you mean? Well, you just, man, we got 5 trucks over there that they don't even know, the government don't even know they're there. Take them boys. Right? Anything, when you start doing good, and don't talk about people that are burdened with wealth. Got so much money, it's weighing them down. They want to do good and they don't know where to do good. So, whether they help or not, it don't make no difference. We just thinking, what can we do? The world is facing disaster. Not facing disaster, it's in a disaster now. Wait 5 or 10 years from now. Boss man just driving on the by, I was listening to the surveys and it's so many, the people at top, it's 10 people getting much money is, I don't know, it don't even sound right. As much as, a small, let's say, I'm just making this stuff up, but 1% at the top is getting more than 49% of the people. And if you take 10% of the top, they get more money than than 90% of the people. That's just ridiculous. Okay, that's ridiculous. The other thing is, they have all types of, there's no limit to what this stuff do. But they have industries where people can not make brooms and all that, blind folks, but where they can produce for themselves. We can do stuff that eventually people can get a college degree. You know what I mean? Yeah, we can, it's a military base, they have it. It ain't no limit to what we can do. We just want to get started, okay? And I'm getting toward the end. We'll make some DVDs of some of these lectures and put them out to give people an idea of what we're working on. Yeah, for Ramadan too, we'll write inspirational lectures. Can you imagine everything from landscaping their own? You know how big these military bases are. Well, everybody can have their own plot for a garden, right? All that space. Simple stuff. Tree planting. For places like California, a whole barracks or two full of firefighters that can do the help, that can stand that type of stuff. We had a division of forestry come and train them to fight forest fires. Right? And as we go all over the nation, we'll have people like that in every place. Flood control, this, that, and another, right? In one part of the country, Louisiana and Georgia and all of that, Mississippi, flood control, right? In other words, there's no limit to what we can do. The only thing that would limit us would be our thinking. Okay, I'll speed up a little bit. Why no to hatred, mistrust, anger? Because this is just, the government